but remember that you'll have an opportunity to chat and ask questions one-on-one during lunch as well. So Eibhlis is next, and I think we have her presentation queued up here. So thank you very much, David, and welcome.
How are you? I'm a little bit nervous, so apologies. So I kind of counteract the nerves. I have kind of a secret weapon planted in the audience. So Eibhlis is going to every so often just do a little bit of an activity with you to make sure that you're engaging with me and I don't feel like I'm my own up here. So Eibhlis, if you just want to explain it.
What am I saying? Oh yeah. I just say, right, give us a bell and yell and say ding dong to make sure that you're all awake. So we get a practice one first. Give us a bell. Ding dong. Alright.
Thanks, Eibhlis. So I suppose I'm just going to give an overview of a piece of work that we have just embarked on in the youth service, which is with Bernard Davies through the In Defence of Youth Work campaign. For anyone that hasn't heard of the In Defence of Youth Work campaign, they're a group in the UK, and they are, I suppose, defending what they believe is the really core practice of youth work, or the cornerstones of youth work, against, I suppose, what they see as a barrage of, we'll say, youth work being just taken over in terms of it becoming very outcome focused and using the cornerstones of youth work. So the book this is a cover of a book that they have published, and you can download it for free off the In Defence of Youth Work campaign website. And basically what the book is it's capturing stories from practice. So it's capturing the stories of young people and of youth workers. And it's not just capturing their stories and putting them into a book. It's about deconstruction really and their stories to find out what the cornerstones of youth work are and really selling that message. And I suppose being involved in it for the last while, I suppose the reason I chose to talk about this is because I found it really powerful, because I think a lot of people in this room might agree with me that as youth workers we're feeling really tied up in knots at the moment, because really we're wondering what in the name of God are we about at all. And at the time when we were doing this workshop in January, I was in the middle of doing our SPY report, and then I was wondering at the time, am I really just an input? Is that what I am? Because the language of youth work really has, we've been absolutely bombarded with this really, really market-orientated language of measurement, is it valid, what are the outcomes, and I swear to God, if I see another template or two, I'll crack up. And that's not being, Dave, I was reading your article, and it's not about being anti-intellectual, and it's not about rejecting things like the theory of change, but what I'm trying to say is, I'm wondering, are we missing maybe, the language of the practice of what we do? So that's where the story came in, and I suppose I got to sit in a circle with my colleagues, and we got to talk about the practice that we do on a day-to-day basis. And it was during that time that I realised that actually that space has been gone for maybe the last 2 years in particular, since we've been asked to capture our work in very kind of templated manners. So I was one of the lucky ones in the group. I got to tell my story. And I don't want to simplify this process, because it wasn't a very simple process. There was a method behind it. And if you read the article, you'll probably see all that. But and I don't want to ruin the story for if you do go and read the article. But basically what we were involved in was actually a piece of youth work. Susanna and Bernard basically facilitated us youth workers through a piece of youth work. And in a very kind of subtly structured way, they got us interrogating our practice, they got us challenging each other, they got us questioning each other. We were critical of each other's practice, but it was in a very, very safe way, and it was really, really beneficial. And there was loads of time. The piece of practice I got to talk about, it was great, because afterwards there was loads of pointers that came up that maybe I hadn't even thought about, things that I might have taken for granted in the story. And things maybe that if I was to do that piece of practice again, that I would change. So it wasn't all about being nicey to each other. It was, there was good old conversation going on, there was good old challenging going on. So I suppose where we at with the Limerick Youth Service, I suppose what we want to do is try and cascade this model through the youth service with a view to kind of capturing, because we're such a diverse organisation, but capturing the cornerstones of youth work on which our organisation is built. And like we're not starting from scratch because the Intensive Youth Work campaign have captured what they feel are the cornerstones of youth work. And Bernard Davies has a really excellent paper that he wrote in 2008 where he traces through the history of youth work in the UK that these cornerstones were present regardless of the motivation of youth work at the time, because youth work is contextual and it is going to be influenced by what's going on in society, what's going on in the economy, but he is able to identify actually, but these cornerstones are still there regardless. So that youth work takes place in open access facilities, that young people, they're coming voluntarily, and that it's about informal education opportunities starting from the young people. So not starting from where you want them to go or where they're going to be in like the great model positions that they're going to be, but starting from where they're at and their needs and concerns. That it's working with young people through their peer networks and their wider identities. That again it's about the here and now as well as their transitions. And that it's rooted in mutually respectful and trusted personal relationships amongst young people, and obviously then that relationship that's key between the youth worker and the young person.
Give us a bed.
Thanks, Eddie. So I'm not going to read through the story, but I just decided, like, a group of Eibhlis was there, we were at a residential not so long ago, and I was like, okay, like, I wonder, like, can we capture cornerstones through our stories? Like, so it wasn't, just to see that it wasn't unique to that particular circle and that particular time for the workers. So just threw it out there to one of the, or all of the lads, did not even want to write the story about the residential and what they got out of it. So Ronald, one of the lads, came back and he wrote a story about his experience of the residential. And I'm not going to read the story, but if anyone wants to read it on the break, you're very welcome. But, like, yeah, you can actually capture all of those cornerstones from reading the story. So, like, you know, stories can be really powerful, and I think that this could be really, really powerful for Liberty Youth Service. And if anybody else wants to get on board, actually, Youth Work Ireland, I think you should get on board and capture the stories across the country. So in Limerick we've got a great saying, and it's like hello like. So like if you're trying to get a point across to someone, you're like hello like. So basically this is my hello like moment, and I've taken this from the book that I mentioned earlier on. So basically what I'm trying to get across in this presentation is that getting to know whether youth work is proven to be effective or adding value will not come about by its funders or its managers sitting passively in their offices waiting for the monthly figures of inputs and outcomes. It will only come about if the methods used are congruent to it and indeed integral to the voluntary engagement that makes youth work so distinctive as a practice. It will only come about if decision makers, youth workers and young people enter into consistent critical conversations with one another about what makes youth work tick. It will come about only if youth work is democratic, true and true. So just my final slide, I don't want to offend anyone here on it, but a colleague of mine has got this on his desktop with Damien Dempsey lyrics that were graffitied by a graffiti artist here in Dublin. But I'm not trying to be disrespectful of. We do need a common language. We do need to articulate our work with a common language. But we also have a really sophisticated, smart language, and that's our day-to-day work language, which captures our practice. And so that's what I'm trying to get across when I say don't speak with your mouth full of shite. Embrace that language, talk about our practice and tell our stories. So, thanks.